What's going on, everybody? Welcome in. I just want to get some people in here before we get started. Jesus, we're almost at 1,000 already. I know a lot of people were waiting for this all day. I have some housekeeping things to go over before. We're just going to jump right into everything because I know this is what you've been waiting for all day. Kind of a busy day. I did not know that they were going to release Grant's women today. We usually know that then when they release the women, that means filming starts 2 or 3 days later. And then we just come to find out, I tweeted it out like 15 minutes ago. You can be a part of Grant's public dates this Friday and Saturday happening in Los Angeles. Go to my Twitter account or go to my Instagram stories. I have the link to it to where, if you have to be in the LA area, obviously, you can sign up. They'll send you an email and you can be a part of it. So if we know that he has public dates this Friday and Saturday, and we know the day after limo entrances is an off day, that means filming either starts tonight, tomorrow, or Wednesday. Wednesday at the latest is when it starts. So just so you know, that's the situation with Grant's season. I do want to add, thank you all for coming in. I know the comments are going to be blowing up on this. I'm not going to have time to really go to the comments, but I appreciate anybody. If you want to chip in, there are all my super chats, Venmo. Maybe I will get to some super chat questions at the end, but if you want to participate and be a part of it, you want to donate in any way, help out the YouTube channel, I'd really appreciate it. So, okay, let's just get right into it. All right. This is going to be a video where the reason why I did a video other than podcast is because you need to see what I'm going to show you. And it's going to be very Dave Neal-esque. It's going to be right in the vein of Dave Neal's, where I am going to post a document online. I'm going to read it along with you. Where's my Dave Neal impression? Folks, Janeth Doeth, Janie Dodo Bird. Sorry, it's my Dave. It's my Dave Neal impression. I hope Dave liked that. Dave, are you here? Are you in the house? Do you like my impression of Dave? Anyway, so, okay. Man, that was one of my best impressions ever. Don't you think? Knew I had my hat sitting around here for a while. Okay. Let's just get right into it. As Luca is already bought. Luca, go. This is important. I can't have you jumping up on my lap as I'm doing this. Go. All right. So I want to start with this. Where do I begin? We're going to bring this up first. Back on May 4th, which was 12 days to be exact, before Jen's final rose ceremony in Hawaii. Final rose ceremony was on May 16th. I will show you what I got sent to me on May 4th. Instagram DM. I've blocked out all names, and I've blocked out part of the conversation that doesn't need to be shown. But this was what brought to my attention on May 4th. And you know, every season, I was saying it back then, I hear negative stuff about guys every season and women every season. But it's gotten to the point where unless I have proof of something, I can't run with it. So this is what I got about 12 days before the final rose ceremony. And it was in response to me saying Devin had a hometown date as the end of April. This person sends me a message saying something there, and then saying she has a restraining order against him. I said, whoa, from how long ago? What happened? Back in college, when they were at LSU, he tried to break into her house, broke her window after she had broke up with him. He then lit the restraining order on fire in front of her house. Do they not do background checks on these guys? Damn. And I said, is the restraining order still active? Could I look it up somewhere? She said, I'm not positive. If it were still active, it was done in the state of Louisiana. I hope she does not pick him. We went back and forth a little bit. She said, he's definitely been arrested for breaking the restraining order. You may be able to find that. I said, okay, thanks. So at the time, back on May 4th, I did a little digging, and I paid like $24.99 to do one of those info searches. And this is what I came up with. Probably need to make this a little bit bigger. This is what I came up with. The only thing that popped up was speeding 10% or more above the speeding limit in 2013, a minor in possession of alcohol 2013. Obviously, that was not a story. I wasn't going to run with that because I didn't even have the details for any of that. And it was back when he was basically a teenager. It was 11 years ago. He would have been 17 at the time. That's not something worth reporting. But at the time, I'm like, okay, is this true? I have no idea if it's true. And I could not find anything that showed anything about a restraining order against somebody back when he was at LSU, where he went to college. So the season goes along. I'm hearing stuff all season long about how this guy is a fraud. There's no way, even if he is engaged to her, there's no way it'll last. There's no way it'll happen. This guy is out for clout. Again, all I kept saying all season was I've heard negative stuff about a lot of the guys this season. I didn't even specify Devin. I just said a lot of the guys, which I had. Sam, Marcus, Devin, a few of the other guys. But it was just along the lines of anything that I could prove, I would show. So this past weekend, this past Friday, I was able to find the documents of what we were talking about here. So I'm going to read these to you and just get ready. It could be fairly triggering. It's nothing like overt, but it's definitely something that needs to be talked about. Okay. So the first order of business I got was from the affidavit for his arrest warrant for Devin Strader. And this was from a police officer by the name of Reese Jenkins with the Baton Rouge Police Department. This was in April of 2017. Yes, this was 7 years ago, but this wasn't like, oh, he bullied somebody in college. Oh, he cheated on a girlfriend in college. No, he broke into her apartment. So let's read this, shall we? Reese Jenkins, Baton Rouge Police Department. On March 19th, 2017, the officers responded to an address, which I blocked out, also blocked out Devin's address. By the way, Devin's address and this address were basically a few doors down from each other. In reference to a burglary where the victim advised the officer she had been out of town and came home to find her room burglarized. By the way, I want to say something right off the bat. Sorry. These are public record. These are not documents that you cannot find because they are sealed. These are public record. You are able to get them. I was able to get them. So we continue. He stated that her and the defendant had just recently broken up and that he lived just 2 doors down from her. She also stated that the defendant never has had a key or unaccompanied access to her apartment while they were dating. I began to investigate this case and spoke with the officer that responded to this call. He informed me that the victim's room was the only room in the residence that appeared to have been rifled through. He also stated that there was a jewelry box that had been gone through, a broken bottle of perfume, a makeup tray was dumped out, and a diamond necklace was stolen during the burglary. The necklace that was taken had been one that the defendant had bought her when they were still dating. The necklace was the only thing reported stolen. Continues. All of her clothing in her closets appeared to have been gone through during the burglary. The officer informed me that the victim's residence was extremely well organized, neat, and tidy. He stated it is very easy to determine what had been rifled through during the burglary. The way that the residence was entered was through a side door that did not lock very well. There was a putty knife found by the door that was normally kept in the garage area. The victim stated she would use the putty knife to jimmy the door if she needed to get into the residence without a key. She also stated that she showed this to the defendant when she locked her keys out of the house. Since she has broken up with the defendant, he has not had permission to be at the house. She also stated that the defendant has come to her house banging on the door several times and screaming at her. She stated that this was several days before the burglary. She also stated that she has been staying at her mom's place for several days since he had banged on the door. She has also filed for a restraining order against the defendant since the burglary. I spoke with the victim on 4/5/17, April 5th, 2017, And she stated that the defendant was served the other day with the restraining order, and later that evening, he made a fire out in the street with what appeared to be the restraining order. He also had a tire flattened on her vehicle, and when it was getting changed, the defendant came outside and began laughing at her. Given the fact that the only thing reported stolen in the burglary was a necklace that the defendant gave her, only personal items were gone through during the burglary, no other rooms were gone through during the burglary, and that the manner that the residence was entered with the putty knife that the defendant had knowledge of, the defendant should be charged with burglary of an inhabited dwelling. I hereby certify under the oaths contained herein to be true and correct to the best of my knowledge under penalties of perjury, so help me God. Reese Jenkins. So Devin went into an ex-girlfriend's residency when she wasn't home, ransacked her apartment, and stole a necklace that he had given her during the relationship. Now, I'll say this. Once I was given this paperwork and was received this paperwork, I contacted the woman involved. I contacted the ex on Instagram. I know her name. I know her Instagram account. I have sent her 2 messages. She has not responded to either, but she has read both of them. So, as the person that I had messaged with back in May had mentioned to me, she probably isn't going to want to come forward in all this. And I said, look, I got to reach out to her at least. I want to at least talk to her and get some sort of, and I said, and even in my messages to her, I said, I will do this anonymously. I just need to speak to you because it happened to you. Did people associated with her tell me why she filed a restraining order against him in the first place? Yes, they did. All I'll say is this isn't some Laura Owen situation. This wasn't, oh, he blew up my phone. He was cyber harassing me. He wouldn't stop texting me. She filed a restraining order against him for something a little bit more serious than that. And do I know what it is? Yes. I cannot say what it is because I have not spoken to the ex in question here. I reached out to her twice, did not receive a reply back, but she read my messages. So, however, the other document that we have proves that there was a restraining order taken out against Devin back in college from his ex, and we will get to that right now. I have blacked out her name for the sake of privacy. You'd see it that, oh, whoops. Hold on a second. Okay, you'll see at the top, Tishner blacked out. Defendant, Devin Strader. This was filed on 5/2, and basically, this is the ex saying he has violated the restraining order I had against him that you gave to him on 4/12. Defendant was served a copy with the above-mentioned order of injunction, and you can see right here, temporary restraining order, on April 12th, 2017. And this is what she wrote. Now, it's a little bit hard to read, but I typed it out because I had a better, clearer version of it. So let me pull this up so I can just read it. She says in this, okay, I am holding Devin Strader in contempt for violating the restraining order numerous times again. 1, Friday the 21st. Asked to talk to me in the bar. I drunkenly agreed. Huge mistake. Sunday the 23rd, called me twice, once in the morning, once in the afternoon, put a letter in my mailbox confessing his love. I was the best thing that happened to him. He's sorry. I think that says okay. Very familiar. Here's a doozy. Tuesday the 25th, 2 days later from that, received a knock on my door at 4:30 a.m. because Devin was arrested for a DWI. Before we move on, let me show you. She's saying on Tuesday, April 25th, 2017, Devin was arrested for a DWI. Here is that DWI from the East Baton Rouge Sheriff's Office. Devin Strader booked 4/25/2017, DWI in Baton Rouge City. Okay, back to this. He was arrested for a DWI and told the cop I was his girlfriend and he wanted to talk to me so I could bail him out of jail. I told cop I had a restraining order. Where is it? I told cop I had a restraining order on him and the cop apologized for waking me up. I then received 4 phone calls from Devin after the cop left with him. Later that day, he knocked on my door around, I think, 1:50 p.m. and called me 4 times while ringing the doorbell. Monday the 1st, he sent me a message on GroupMe, which is one of those group chats, with another novel on how much he loves me and wants to talk to me and swears this will be the last time. He also called me at 10 a.m. shortly after sending the messages. And then star, all caps, please, this has to stop. I can't live my life with him continuing to contact me, even with a restraining order. So, I mean, look, while I would have liked to talk to the ex, I hate that this happened to her, but honestly, this story, it doesn't need to be about her. It sucks what happened to her, but I don't need her to confirm these documents. These are confirmation. She took out a restraining order against him, and then he violated it 4 times, and she just listed in her own handwriting how he violated it. Now, what's next? Okay, so the East Baton Rouge Sheriff's Office. So on Friday, so that's obviously something major. And I think one thing we got to take into account here is the fact that the restraining order, from everything that I've been told, has been sealed. So I know people are going to jump on the show that how did you not know that Devin Strader, one of your contestants, had a restraining order against him in college from an ex-girlfriend? I don't care if it was 7 years ago. I don't think if they knew this, they would knowingly let him on. I'm not letting them off the hook. I'm just saying that part is sealed. I can't get the restraining order. But what his lawyer failed to do was seal these particular documents. So while the show did not know about the restraining order, at least before casting, during casting, maybe, I don't know. The thing is, they probably should have. I was able to get the documents because someone told me where to go. So I think the show clearly needs to do a better job. They just had an expose written about them in June by the LA Times saying this show has failed their leads. They have not done a good job in their diversity program. And then what happens on Jen's season? They literally failed Jen at the After the Final Rose. And now we find out that the guy she chose had a fucking restraining order put out against him by an ex-girlfriend because he burglarized her home. I don't even want to get into the reason she took the restraining order out. Okay? Just know it's not because he cyber harassed her. So this is what is pretty infuriating about the whole thing. Now, this past Friday, I mentioned there was a TikTok out there that somebody who had dealings with Devin right around this time, and you'll see the date on this, he still had a DM that Devin sent him back in April of 2017, kind of right in the middle of all this, because we have, what was the last date here was, so April 21st, April 23rd, 25th, and May 1st. So look at what Devin sent to somebody that was aware of the situation. And I will say that this person that he contacted is a gay man. This is not a good look, Devin. So on April 22nd, 2017, he wrote, "Hey, you can read. Guess who's getting their fucking ass kicked next time I see you? Kicked. Sorry, don't want you getting confused. See you sooner than you think, pussy. Surprised somebody puts their dick in that foul mouth of yours. Keep my end out of that shithole, especially when dealing with me. Educate yourself on the situation, gay boy." Devin seems very tolerant to the LGBTQ community, don't you think? Good Lord, Devin. Now, this was straight from Devin's account. This was posted on TikTok, I think Friday night. And then it was immediately sent private, but I was able to grab it because it was sent to me. You don't need to know, who this person is. Doesn't matter who it is. Devin sent it to him right around the time, like April 22nd. So what were we dealing with here? April 22nd. So basically between Friday the 21st and Sunday the 23rd, when he was still trying to get in touch with his ex, he sends this to someone that he knows is gay and decided to just drop some absolutely hate speech on a gay man. Now, here's what, among other things, bothers me. It bothers me that they obviously cast somebody who had a restraining order against him in college. And I'm telling you right now, this story will be picked up by the media, and producers will be asked about this. And I can already tell you what their answer is going to be. They're going to say, we did not know. And they're going to say, we would never knowingly put somebody who had a restraining order against him back in college on an ex on this show. I'm telling you, that's what they're going to say. But the thing is, they should have known. If I'm able to get the documents, why can't they? These are public documents. Yes, the restraining order, I will repeat, the restraining order was sealed. They did not have access to get anything like that. But they had this. So here's what also pisses me off. This past weekend, Devin made 2 posts that I want to point out. First one was this. You see this post on his Instagram story or his Instagram? He just posted a picture of himself saying little R&R this weekend. And then he wrote, everyone done? You don't know how tempted I have been for 2 days to want to say, actually, ... But I didn't want to tip him off. There's no reason to. But he said this, and then I want to show this video that he posted yesterday on his Instagram story. Hopefully you can hear this. Tell me in the comments if you can hear this.
I've spent a lot of time, Joe, slating everybody in the company.
Oh, it froze. Let's see here. Let's see. Remove. Let's try. Let's do this again. Damn it. Okay. Okay. The video was basically Conor McGregor, UFC fighter, basically saying, I apologize to absolutely nobody. That was the main point of that clip. Him saying in the ring after a fight, basically all the haters come at me and I apologize to nobody. And Devin posted that on his Instagram story last night. So here is a guy who writes everyone done and then posts a video saying, I apologize to absolutely fucking nobody. That's what Conor McGregor actually said. And he says this. I mean, I think I said this on my podcast this morning. The nerve of this guy knowing he has a restraining order in his past against an ex. And he has the audacity to basically taunt people and say, are you done talking about me? Are you done piling on me? No, Devin. This stuff is way worse than you sharing the texts between you and Jen. Those were bad, yes. Stupid of him to do. Never should have done it. But I'd say this is way worse. Way worse. So now maybe you're asking, hey, Steve, what happened to Devin? What was the punishment he got in any of this? Let's pull that up. Okay, this matter came through counsel. The accused waived formal arraignment, entered a best interest plea of guilty as charged. The court ordered the accused be sworn. The court explained to the accused the nature and elements required to constitute the crime charged against him and the maximum penalty accessible. The court further examined the accused as to his educational background and whether or not understood the rights of the waiver of those rights. Whereupon the court, finding factual basis for the plea and being given the opinion that the accused understood the significance of his plea and was knowing, intentionally, and unknowingly waiving his right to plead not guilty, rule that would be expected in the plea. Okay. The court deferred the imposition of sentence in this matter for a period of 1 year and placed the accused on unsupervised probation for that period, with special conditions of that probation that the accused remain arrest conviction free, remain drug alcohol free, and submit to random drug testing as directed, pay court cost at $231.25, perform 30 hours of community service work at LSU library or church, pay a $100 fine, complete a court-effective decision-making class, maintain gainful employment, and no contact or communication with the victim. Are you serious? This guy had a restraining order put on him against an ex, then violated that restraining order 4 different times. And he got 1 year probation, $231 in court costs, 30 hours of community service, a $100 fine, told to get a job and leave the victim alone. That's all he got? I mean, what do you say at this point? I don't know. But I wanted to point this out because this goes back to May. And it goes back to, look, I cannot report stuff that I don't have factual evidence of. Yes, 2 weeks before the final rose ceremony, I had been told that Devin Strader had a restraining order taken out against him back in college. But I could not run with that and just put that out there without having any evidence to back it up. And I had pretty much given up on it. It was just something that I was going to be told was just, I have no idea if it's true or not till this past weekend when I got these documents. I was told where to look, and I got them. They are of public record. Restraining order has been sealed. It's not public record. These are. I was able to pull them. So if I can pull them, how come the show failed Jen as poorly as they did? After that embarrassment of an After the Final Rose, now comes this. As for Jen and all this, this is just a guess on my part, but I think she does know about this. I think. Now, she found out about this, recently. It's not like she knew about this, obviously, during filming. But from everything that I have gathered by poking around, Jen has been made aware of this, I believe, recently. So, I have no issue with the victim herself, the ex, not coming forward to me, but I did want to reach out to her. There was no point reaching out to Devin because I didn't want to hear whatever BS he had to say, and he probably wasn't going to respond to me anyway. So this is something to where this is a very serious matter. I do not think that the show, I honestly don't think, and look, I'm the number one critic of this show and how they handle certain situations. I honestly don't think that they knew Devin had a restraining order taken out against him back in college because it was sealed. I don't know how you would know to even find that. But they should have known this. And once they saw this paperwork, they would have known, oh, wow, he had a restraining order previously taken out against him, and now he's violating it. He never should have been on this show. Period. End of story. And this is what I mean when I say I hear negative stuff all the time. I've heard stuff like this about other contestants, not necessarily Jen's guys, but other guys in the past, where unless I get physical proof of something like this, I cannot just start slandering people on the internet. Did I used to do it? Yes, all the time. But I've changed my ways. I'm not doing that anymore. It has to come through something like this. So, do I have anything else to share? No, that was it. So I wanted to put that out there. And this isn't some sort of vendetta I have against Devin. If this was about anybody else on Jen's season that had a restraining order taken out against them, I'm sorry. I don't even know how restraining orders work in terms of how long do they last? Are they always on his record? Was it expunged? Regardless, 7 years ago, this guy was a grown adult. He was probably, his birthday is January 31st, 1996. This happened in April of 2017. So he is 21 years old at the time. He obviously should not be breaking into exes' homes when they're not around. He should not be ransacking their room, stealing their jewelry, then literally lighting the restraining order on fire and laughing about it and flattening a tire. This is all coming from the police, not me. This isn't like what I've heard. So I was like I said, told about this in May, and I just, what can I do? I can't just start accusing people of things that I don't know to be true. In the back of my head, did I believe it to be true? Yes, because somebody coming to this with me back in May and sends me this message. I really don't think that they would say that if a restraining order was never taken out. So in the back of my head, I had this in my head all season, that this is not a good guy. Now, because I had gotten so many things told to me about other men, I had forgotten about this email. When I was contacted this past weekend, I had to scroll back in my Instagram DMs and be like, wait a second. Somebody did tell me something about an ex back at LSU and a restraining order. I had forgotten about it because it had been 3 months. Her Jen's finale aired September 3rd? This was 4 months later, June, July, August, 4 months later. So I didn't even remember until I went back, and once I was told about this over the weekend, I was like, oh, wait a second. Somebody did tell me about this. And it lines up. This person said back in May, he lit the restraining order on fire in front of their house. And then we literally see the cops say in this document, is it on this page? No, this is just rifling through the jewelry box. Very classy, Devin. Yeah, this line. I spoke with the victim on April 5th, it's 2017. She said the defendant was served the other day with the restraining order, and later that evening, he made a fire out in the street with what appeared to be the actual restraining order. I mean, I think this all speaks for itself. I don't know what the show is going to, what can they do now? The show's over. I would think that Devin will never be allowed on the show ever again. That's probably the least of his concerns. He should never want to be as part of this franchise ever again. But I think maybe some of the guys that have defended Devin post-show maybe do a different kind of look in the mirror and maybe don't defend him anymore. Yes, I understand you didn't know about this until today, but maybe you don't defend him anymore. Maybe you felt, oh, well, that's fine. He should have posted the text to defend himself about what Jen was saying to him. Regardless, I think that's second banana now. This is most important. This will be covered by entertainment sites. And I guarantee they're going to go to Warner Brothers for an actual quote. And they're going to say, just been made aware of this. We will look into it. It's nothing to look into. These are the documents. So I'm trying to basically figure out here, I don't know what the show's next step is going to be, but this is just an indictment on the show yet again, another black eye for the show on just their vetting process. I have no idea why they didn't know about this, or maybe they did and kept it under wraps. I have no idea. I'm not going to answer for them, but the documents that I showed you are of public record. So it wasn't something that I had to jump through hoops to get. So I think that is something that you really can't. I'm getting a message here. No, I'm not taking a chance. As people are saying that Devin's in the chat wanting to come on. There's no way Devin's in this chat. Let me scroll up. Which name are you saying is Devin in the chat? Luca. No. Yeah, I'm not going to take any sort of chance and do that. Look, the guy's taken some. I just think it's very on brand for him to basically taunt people over the weekend with everyone done and the Conor McGregor video, knowing he had this in the past. Like, what fucking nerve this guy has to do that. And here's the thing. You can talk all you want about the show not being able to find it because the records were sealed. Fine. But you talk to any contestant who's ever been through the interview process to go on this show. Producers sit you down and say, is there anything possible out there that we should know about that could come to light about yourself? And Devin clearly lied or clearly didn't say, oh yeah, by the way, I had a restraining order taken out against me in college against an ex, or she took one out against me. So he clearly kept it from the show. And then even after, now Devin is probably going to come out and make some sort of speech, maybe do another Instagram video. But dude, it's too late, because even after the show ended and even after filming was over, you never told Jen about this. Because from everything that I've gathered, Jen did not know about this until this past few days. So he still had an opportunity to come clean after the show was over and say, hey, I did this in my past. I'm sorry for it. I never should have done it. But no, here he is taunting the public and taunting you people, saying like, oh, you done? Knowing he had this in his past. What is his problem? So, I'm sure Devin is going to respond to this, but we've seen the paperwork. We've seen what happened. He can talk all he wants about, because I never spoke to the ex. I don't know what she did to him. But the thing is, we know what he did to her. This was in a sworn affidavit from a police officer. So if he wants to downplay breaking into an ex's apartment when she's not there so he could get a necklace back, shit, just ask her. Just be like, hey, you know that necklace I bought you when we were together? Since we're not together anymore, can I get that back? But this is what he did. Broke into her apartment with a putty knife. Ransacked her room. Clothes all over the floor. Burglarized her jewelry chest so he can find a necklace when she was gone. Scared her so much she had to go stay with her mom for a few days. This is what I'm talking about. This guy's unhinged. This guy never should have been on the show. I don't care if it was 7 years ago. Anyway. He's going to say something, I'm sure. And again, we'll just have to listen to what he says, but I don't really know what he can say to this to where we're going to be like, oh, totally get it, Devin. Understandable why you broke into your ex's apartment with a putty knife and went through her shit. And got a DWI, and that night went to her house to say, this is my girlfriend. I wanted her to bail me out. She tells the cops, no, I'm not your girlfriend anymore, and I'm not bailing you out. Take him away. So, I don't think Devin is in here, and even if he is, I'm not letting him on just because he can speak somewhere else. He can speak on his own platform. But again, the show should have known about this. This man never should have been let on the show. I feel awful for Jen. I understand the timing of this isn't great. She's got her show, Dancing with the Stars, her first dance tomorrow night. Tune in, vote for her. I know this is a lot, but there was no reason to sit on this when I had just gotten it this weekend. You know, I again, unfortunate with the timing with her starting Dance with the Stars tomorrow night, but this needs to be told. Hopefully Warner Brothers has some sort of response to this, but what are they really going to say? You know, I don't know. But thank you all for tuning in. Thanks everybody who sent in any sort of donation. I really appreciate it. Dave Neal, thank you. Great impression. You want me to do it again? Folks, Janeth Doeth, Janie Dodo Bird. You like that, Dave? That was pretty good. My best impression I got going right now. Carolyn Bunderman, Corinne, sorry, Bunderman. Thank you very much for that donation. Dawn Lee, thank you. I appreciate this. Thank you all for tuning in. This is obviously a very, I know you were waiting to see all this, and I don't think I overhyped it. This wasn't going to be something to where, you know, it was not important. All I teased was this is something important that you need to watch. Not only the stuff about the ex and the paperwork that we were able to find, but the hate speech on a gay man from back in 2017, totally uncalled for. Another horrible look for him. I don't know how he's going to try and write that one off. Because he basically is, I don't care what that guy said to him. Look at what he wrote back to a gay man. You know, just awful. Just people show you who they are, believe them. Isn't that the saying? Unreal. Anyway, thank you all for coming on board. watching this. I appreciate it. Once we end this, it'll go up on my YouTube channel. You can watch if you tuned in late, you can go watch back and you can see the documents there. And again, appreciate you all listening. The daily roundup tomorrow will be pretty much a recap of this. I'm not going to read everything on the recap. I will direct people to the YouTube channel, but kind of express my disappointment, not only with the show, but the nerve of Devin to do something like this, to the way he spoke to a gay man. It's just totally unacceptable. I'm sure Devin will take to his social media account at some point and address this. Really curious to see what he has to say, because what can you say to something like this? Anyway, thank you all for coming in. I really appreciate it. Talk to you tomorrow on the Daily Roundup.